Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY projects, we're going to be creating some really cute home decor items using Dollar Tree supplies. Now I love that these can be used all year round and are multifunctional. Now as always, all of the projects I create have complete supply lists in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather up your supplies. Now before we start, I have to say hey to all of my subscribers, and if you are a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well, and that you stick around to enjoy these crafts and all the tips and tricks along the way. So now, let's just jump right into all of these awesome projects. Now this project is a 2-tier square tray. We're going to need one 8-inch box frame art piece from the Dollar Tree. We're also going to need one 6-inch box frame art piece from the Dollar Tree. Now I have one from the fall, but they do have these year-round in different designs, and Halloween is out right now. We're also going to need a piece of 1x2. This is a leftover scrap, and I've cut this about 7 to 8 inches tall for my tray. Okay, we're going to start off with those box art pieces, and what we're going to do, go ahead and remove the outer wrapping if there is any, and we want to remove that hanger piece if you have a hanger block inside of there, and I just used my utility blade just to pull that out really easy. For the other piece, if you have that metal hanger in there, you could pop that out by using a screwdriver and remove any labels on that one as well. Now, if your piece has any kind of embellishments like ribbons or glitter, we are going to be removing that. For the large box art piece, it was fine, but we are going to sand off the glitter on the small one, and here it is, all sanded and ready to go. So the next thing we have to do is to find the center of both pieces. Now traditionally, you could take your ruler and you can measure both sides and find the center that way. But what I love to use is my little hack here, where I take a piece of craft paper and I'm going to lay it on the box, and then I'm just going to press an indentation of the shape into that craft paper all the way around. Now once you have that indentation, you notice you have this perfect little square, and all you have to do now is to cut it out with a pair of scissors. Now here's that piece all nice and cut out. You just want to make sure it is the right shape, and if it does check out, go ahead and fold it in half, making sure all the ends are aligned, and then fold it in half again till you have it in quarters. Now once you have that little point in the center there, you're going to take your scissors, and what you're going to do is just snip off that little point there in the center. Now when you open it back up, that hole will represent the exact center, so lay that on top of your box art piece, and now you know where the center of that box art is, and then you could just mark this with a pencil. So once you do this for your large piece, we're just going to repeat that for your smaller piece with those same steps all the way around, just indenting the shape and then folding into quarters and then marking the center. So now both of our pieces have their centers clearly marked. Now what we're going to do is we are going to drill those holes. So I'm taking a drill bit. This is a 5/64 inch drill bit, and I'm just going to drill a hole in the center where we have marked our holes. We're also going to drill a hole on each side of our wood piece, and we're using that same drill bit into each side. So now we need to join our pieces together, and I'm going to use screws. So I decided to go with a number 8 2-inch wood screw for this project. So I'm just going to install my screwdriver bit, and then I like to hand thread my drill bit into the bottom first, or my screw into the bottom first, and then start screwing the wood plank in. Now once that's threaded a little bit, I'll do the rest with the drill, just securing it nice and flush in place. Now when you flip it over, your post is nice and secure in the center. And now all we have to do is to add our topper piece. Again, this time we're adding our screw through the bottom of the little wood piece and then sitting it on top of our post there, and then drilling that down and making sure it's drilled all the way down and secured where the top doesn't rotate or wiggle or anything. Now, once it is secured all the way down, this piece is nice and solid. So now what we're going to do is we are going to embellish our pieces a little bit. Now I'm going to be using these half beads that I purchased from Amazon. These are really convenient to use and I love them. Now I have cut wood beads in the past myself. They're really easy. I'll link the demo in the upper right hand corner of this video and also in the description box in case you are interested. Now what I did is decide to put some beads along the sides, spacing them out evenly, and I went with 7 beads. Now I'm going to join these together with my wood hot glue, and I'm just going to make sure that these are even and spaced equally apart along the side of that tray. Now once all 7 are in place, here's what they look like, and you want to repeat this all the way around the bottom tray until you have 7 beads on each side. And now we're going to do that top tray. Now for this one, we're only going to be using 5 of those half beads. Now once we secure those all the way around the tray, here is what they look like, all nice and spaced evenly. So now what we're going to do is to paint it. So I love to use my Zinsser 123 primer. This covers up all the artwork really well. So I'm going to give this 2 nice coats of the Zinsser. And then I'm going to follow up with my final coat with some Krylon flat white spray paint. Now, of course, if you don't want to use spray paint for your project, you can always use chalk paint or acrylic paint in any color that you choose. Now here's my piece after it's been painted and it's fully dry and ready to go. Now all you have to do is to decorate this gorgeous piece. And here it is, you guys, all decked out in some fall decor. Now I've added some candles and festive fall greenery for this version, and I love this warm and cozy combination of all the colors. Now, of course, this is a year-round decor piece, so what I also decided to do was to give it a farmhouse look too. Now, by adding these sweet little DIY houses, some beads, and accessories, these make the perfect little farmhouse display for your home. Now this is so cute and adorable, but you could also decorate for the holidays too. And I have done just that by adding a few ornaments and decor that I just picked up from the Dollar Tree. Now I love using their ornaments as tray decor, and I just had to get a little SSC for She's So Crafty. Now you all definitely have to let me know what you think about this project in the comments below. Now this project is a faux metal planter with hooks. We're going to need one of these large hard side gift boxes from the Dollar Tree. Now these are available in all seasons as well as in the birthday and holiday and party aisle. Now I'm also going to need some over the door racks from Dollar Tree. I'm going to need one of these. Now we're going to start off with our box, and we need to cut this to shape. So I'm going to cut this down about 2 1/4 inches on one side of the box. So I'm just going to use my ruler and I'm just going to make a line there so I'll know where I'm going to be cutting it, and making sure that line overlaps the edge so you could see it from the side. So now what I'm going to do is cut an angle cut from the top of the back of the box down to the 2 1/4 inch line that we just marked. That'll make our slant cut for the sides, and we're going to do this for both sides. Now once you do that, in order to get a nice straight cut, what I like to do is take my ruler, I'll clamp it in place, and then I'll use my utility blade just to score it a few times. You want to make sure your fingers are definitely out of the way for this. Definitely be careful. So once you have that score line, all you have to do is run your blade across that score line just a few times, and it should be able to detach the side in a form like this wing here. And we're going to do this on both sides. So now all we have to do is cut across the front. Again, I'm going to clamp my ruler down in the front, run my utility blade along that ruler a few times just to get that little score mark. And once you have your score mark, you just run your blade back across there and it should come right off. And here is your slant cut for the front of your box. Now sometimes the box cut can be kind of rough depending on the box, so just run over it with a little bit of sandpaper and that should resolve any issues. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab our over the door hanger. Now we're going to need 2 of these hooks on the over door hanger. So I'm just going to clip off the last 2 hooks together as shown here. Now what I'm going to do is clip off any overage on these little pieces on the side. And I'm also going to clip and bend back and forth this little hook part and snap that off because we won't need that for our project. So I'm reshaping the hooks to make sure they are the right size. And this is what we'll be using for the hooks at the bottom of our box. Now we're going to be attaching this to the back of the box so we can add hangers, so we can hang little trinkets or whatever we like. So once you decide where you want to place it, I am just going to be using my wood hot glue for this. Now you can definitely use E6000 or Gorilla Glue or whatever strong type of adhesive that you like, but I did find that the wood hot glue worked perfect for my project today. So once you adhere and get that basic adhesion, you're going to go around all of the edges with more of that hot glue. Just adds an additional seal there and keeps it nice in place so it is secure and will be able to hold anything that you place on your hooks. And here it is all nice and sealed in. So what we're going to do is to let this sit a few minutes and let that glue solidify. Now I do think this box is really cute just the way it is. I love this design this year, really cute. But what we're going to do is once that's nice and secure, I am going to be painting my box. So what I'm going to do is to take some of my Zinsser 123 primer. I am going to give a couple of coats of primer on there, and of course you can use chalk paint if you like, and also acrylic paint. So here's my couple of coats of Zinsser 123 primer all over my box, and you can see that the coverage is really good with this. Now what I decided to do with my box is to give it kind of a galvanized look. So to do this, I'm going to use a couple of different paints. I'm going to use 3 different acrylic paints in gray. I'm going to use this dark pavement acrylic paint here. I'm going to use elephant gray acrylic paint and also a silver acrylic paint. This is a Martha Stewart one I got on clearance, but you can use any silver that you have on hand. So the color we're going to start with is the dark gray. You want to work from dark to light when making this little galvanized look. So you could use a makeup sponge or anything to dab it, but I love to use a paintbrush as well. So I'm just going to load up that paint on the tip of the paintbrush and just start dabbing the different shapes on the cover of the box. You want to do this on all the sides that are exposed, the front, the back, the bottom, and inside. Now note that on the inside it did only go down halfway, since only half of it will be exposed in any of my projects. So while that's still wet, we are going to go right in with our elephant gray, again taking that same paintbrush and then just dabbing that all over the box as well. My main focus is to get that gray into the white areas, but it's definitely okay to overlap some of those darker gray areas. This causes a better blending, and once you do that all over the box, this is the result, you guys. It's getting close to our galvanized look. Now let this sit to completely dry. Now that it's dry, we are going to take our silver and go in with that. So I'm just taking a smaller paintbrush here and I'm just going to dab this silver all over the side. Now we're going to work at one side at a time, because once we dab this on, we're going to let it sit just a few seconds and then go in with a wet paintbrush. Now what this does is it actually helps to blend in that silver and kind of soften the look to make it look like real metal. So you just want to go over this, make sure your brush is kind of really damp, and then finish it off going in one nice direction to give you the best look and finish. And here is one side of the box. It looks really good and I'm happy with it. So we're going to repeat this process all the way around the box. And here is the final result all over the box with your galvanized metal look. So now that it's dry, what we're going to do is we are going to work on the bottom of it, and we want to do the hooks. So I'm taking some black acrylic paint, and what I want to do is just to paint those hooks black. Now I waited to paint these black for last because I knew that it would be spray painted. So I wanted to make sure that the black was the last finish, and you want to give 2 nice coats of the black and let them dry. And here is what it looks like. So now what I wanted to do is add some little accents. Have you ever seen those metal containers with the little slots in them? What I did is I went to my Cricut machine and I cut out some slots 1/4 inch high by 1 1/4 inch long. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you don't need one. You could just cut strips at 1/4 inch and cut little pieces 1 1/4 inch long for this same effect. You don't need a Cricut machine or cutting machine to do this. And the Dollar Tree has vinyl that you could use. So what I'm doing on the front of my box is I am marking some lines about 1 inch apart, starting at about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. And I want to start applying those little slit pieces, those slot pieces. So I'm just going to apply them. I'm going to start by applying 3 across the top, and I'm just eyeballing it, but I'm spacing these about 1 inch apart going across. And then the next row, you definitely want to offset it to give it the authentic slit look. This is what the front looks like, and we're going to repeat this for the sides, just carrying on that same design using the guide that you made on the front of the box and just carrying it over to the sides of the box. Now here are both sides and the front all done, and I'm loving how good this looks. Now for the back, what we're going to do to hang it is use some of this grosgrain ribbon. Now this is some grosgrain ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide. Now what I want to do with this is I'm going to apply a generous amount of glue on each end of that grosgrain ribbon, about 1.5 inches long, because we only want an opening in the middle about maybe 1.5 inches. We want this to fit very tight. So once we get the glue on the ribbon, go ahead and flip it over and apply it to the back about maybe 3/4 of an inch down from the top, and then make sure it's stretched really tight. You only want to be able to fit just 1 finger under there because this will hang it close to the wall and keep it from leaning forward. So here is what it looks like all done, and now we can decorate. And here is our faux galvanized box decor with some beautiful fall foliage. Now I do love the finish of this box, and this slotted look really gives it a unique look. Now this is so super sweet, but you can also use a neutral style with greenery. Now for this one, I added an IKEA plant and tassel beads, and I love this look so much. Now you can add some flowers. You could use this for mail, for trinkets, anything that you really love. Now the possibilities are endless for this, but I couldn't leave without making a quick holiday version too. Now I do love the versatility of this piece, and it's so fun and easy to make. Now I love these little ornaments, but don't forget to use those hooks to hang decor, keys, or anything that you love. I hope that you give this easy project a try. Now this project is a house welcome decor piece. Now we're going to need one of these Halloween wood houses from the Dollar Tree. We're also going to need one of these MDF welcome signs, also from the Dollar Tree. We're going to start with our house. Go ahead and remove the tags. And what we're going to do first is we are going to cut out the window. So I'm using this piece of black craft foam. Now I'm just using my little chalk marker, and I want to trace out onto the foam all of the little windows. So I'm going to trace out the 2 bottom windows, the 2 top square windows, and that 1 arched window at the very top there. So I have 5 total cutouts. I'm just using my little chalk marker here. You can use a pen or whatever you like. We won't see this in the final project. So now that we have these all traced on our black craft foam, we can cut those out. Now here they are all cut out and ready to go, but for now we are going to sit these to the side while we work on our house. Now for my house, I wanted to go with a nice white color. I'm going to be using my white acrylic paint. You could use chalk paint or any color or style that you like. So I'm just going to apply 1 to 2 coats of that white paint all over the front of the house, making sure you get inside those windows and along the edges. And here it is, all nice and covered. You want to let it dry, and here is the final result. So now what I wanted to do is go in and highlight all the roof areas of my house to let them stand out a little better. So I'm just going to be using this black paint marker. Now I got this as a freebie thrown in with one of my orders that I made online. So I'm going to give it a try today. So what I'm going to do is use my ruler just to make sure it's even and just outline the edge of the roof. Now I don't know if it's because I painted it previously and I'm going over it with another paint. I didn't quite like how this marker kind of operated on it, but you could probably achieve this same look by using a Sharpie or using a fine tipped paintbrush with some black acrylic paint, which is the acrylic paint is probably what I would use if I were to do this a second time. So here is all of my edges and everything trimmed out with the black, so I'll know where all my roof parts are on my project. So now we're going to grab all of those windows, and we're going to grab the bottom ones, the 2 square ones, and then the topped arch one as well. Now these are going to be formed into shutters. So what I'm going to do is fold the window cut out in half. I'm going to kind of press it in the center to make a little seam, and then take my scissors and cut it right down the center so I have 2 pieces. Now I am going to put one side of these shutters on each side of the window. Now as you notice, I did not place them right here, but this is just preliminary. I change it up a little later, but I'm just going to lay each side on the side of each window. So here I am, I'm flipping them the right way so they look like wings. Make sure that yours look like wings. That is the correct way to lay your shutters. So I'm going to do this for all of my windows and make sure they're laid out. And then once they are laid out, just go in with your hot glue and then secure each one of those shutter pieces in place. Now, I just think that the look of the shutters just complete this look and give it a more neutral look. Less haunted house like, more of neutral house decor. So I really love how this look looks. Now I looked at the door and it does seem like it needs to be trimmed out as well, so I went in with my chalk marker and I traced that out as well, and then I'm going to trim out the door. Now you do want to leave a little extra edge around your tracing because you want it to be able to adhere to the wood. So I'm just going to outline that with a little hot glue and then place that covering over the door, making sure you don't cover that top arch window above the door. And there you go, the door is nice and covered, and there is your house piece. Now to accent my house, I wanted to give some bushes out front, so I'm taking the scrap piece of boxwood, and I get these from Walmart, super cheap. So I pulled out some of those sprigs, and what I'm going to end up doing is hot gluing 2 of those little bunches on each side of the house. On each side is the little stairway looking part of the house. So once I get 2 pieces on each side, this is what it looks like when it's all hot glued together. And now I'm just going to take my scissor and I'm going to cut off those stems along the bottom. And then I'm going to go in and trim the top of the shrubs. I didn't want them to overlap the window opening at all. I wanted to give it a nice clean look as if you had your shrubs nice and trimmed down in front of your home. So I'm just going to go in with my scissors and give those a little trim. Now here are all of my little greenery pieces all trimmed and good to go. Now to trim out the bottom so you don't see the bottom of the shrubs, what I decided to do is cut another strip of that crafting foam, and it's about 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to trim out the bottom. So I'm just going to run a line of my hot glue along the bottom, along that bottom wood strip there, across the bushes, and then I'm going to lay my craft foam piece carefully right on top. Now I want to pull it kind of taut because I want this nice and straight, and just press it gently on top of that hot glue. And then just trim off the ends, and now your house piece is all ready to go. So now we're going to work on our welcome sign. Now, in order to match my project, I decided to go with some black. So I'm going to paint this with this black acrylic paint. Now I am going to go ahead and remove that hanger. Now initially in my mind I was thinking I was going to use the plant chain hanger, but I did change my mind at the last minute and just go ahead and use the jute twine that came with it instead. So I'm just going to add some of my black acrylic paint, and we are just going to be applying this to our welcome sign. Now this small welcome sign has a lot of tiny little areas, so you do want to be careful. What I found is that painting the outside first and then painting the top first and the inside of the letters second kind of works for me, and then let it dry, and then you'll see any areas that you missed and then just touch up as needed. And here it is, all nice and painted. And here is our house piece and our welcome piece, all nice and dry and ready to go. So I'm going to flip both of these face down because I want the welcome sign to kind of hang from the bottom of the house. So I'm using that same jute twine that came with the welcome sign to attach it. So I'm going to space these evenly apart. I'm kind of eyeballing it. You could definitely use a grid mat if that helps. So I'm going to take my jute twine that came with it, tie a knot on the end, lay it on the back of the welcome sign, and give it a couple staples in there to reattach it to the back of that welcome sign. And we're going to do this on the other side as well by tying a knot, stapling that in place, and then spacing it evenly between the house. Now once it's spaced evenly, add a generous bead of that wood hot glue. Place your jute twine right in it. You want to pull it nice and taut. Make sure it's laying right into that glue. And then repeat that on the other side for the other piece of jute. Now once that dries, go ahead and flip it over and make sure your spacing is okay. This is the time where you can make some adjustments before you add your final touches. Now everything looks good with mine, so I'm going to flip it back over, take my hot glue, and I'm just going to go back and forth over those jute twine pieces just to make sure they are nice and secure to the wood. And then I'm going to cover each one of the ends up with some craft paper. It just gives a nice little final touch that makes it look very professional, and none of that raw end of the string is exposed. And there you have it, a beautiful home sign that is welcoming your guests. So the final little thing you want to do is to add your hanger, and here I'm just taking some Dollar Tree jute and I'm just going to cut a piece about 4 inches long, and I'm just going to gather the tails of it, tie a knot in there, and then stick it right back through the hole that's already in the house. You want to pull it through the front, and then you cut those tails off, and then hot glue the end where the knot is on the back. And there it is, you have a little hang loop for your piece. And here it is, you guys, a really cute house with a welcome sign that you can display on your door or in your home. Now, you guys, all of these DIYs were so fun to create today, and I hope that they have inspired you to get creative. Now, I really do love each and every one of these, but you all have to let me know in the comments which one of these projects was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen, and make sure you hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.